Welcome to the free audiobook version of The Everyday Pain Guide, your go-to guide when pain first strikes. Hi, I'm Dr. Ya-Ling Liu, and the podcast is taking a little detour to make my new book available in an audio-friendly version for everyone out there. Each episode will feature a bite-sized snippet from the book, and together we'll work our way through as much of it as is possible in this format. What's exciting about this is that I'm reading parts of the book to you before it's even available on the shelves. Plus, unlike with a traditional audiobook, you can engage with the content and chat with me about what you hear. You get to ask questions and tell me what you think as each episode rolls out. So sit back and relax as I bring you today's installment of the second book in the Everyday Pain Guide series, Fix the Fire Damage. In the last episode, you heard about the 3 steps that toxic or unnecessary garbage goes through in the liver to prepare for elimination from our bodies. Today, we're continuing on our mission to better understand how we can control our overall body inflammation levels by looking at the logistics of how that problematic garbage, once it's disarmed and ready for removal, actually gets out. A quick reminder that any information, techniques, and suggestions discussed here are not intended as a substitute for your own medical care. Always consult a healthcare provider before implementing any advice referenced here. Garbage transport. One of the main avenues for successfully neutralized toxic garbage to be safely carried away is through the tubular intestine passageway. With help from the nervous system, rhythmic muscle contractions by the intestines physically push garbage out in the form of stool. However, with more than 20 feet of distance to travel, our garbage spends a lot of time sitting around inside of that enormously long tube, waiting to reach the exit. What's it doing for all that time? At the very beginning, nutrients are being extracted and absorbed back into the body. Farther down, we get a chance to reabsorb a few things like fluids and electrolytes as needed. Most of us have come to associate the idea of gut health with the microbiome, an army of microbes that keep us healthy. But gut health and our gut bacteria also rely on the condition of the gut wall. Your gut wall is the barrier between outbound garbage and the rest of your body. This barrier can become physically and or biochemically stressed. And when it does, it develops greater permeability. In other words, it becomes a leaky barrier. Increased gut permeability means that molecules can more easily leak across the gut walls in both directions, out of the gut and back into the blood, as well as out of the blood and prematurely discarded into the gut. Why does this matter? It turns out that the condition of your gut wall is a significant underlying factor in whether or not you experience symptoms from any one of the many possible food sensitivities, which, as you recall, is one of the sneaky 3 types of incoming garbage. How easily your body gets inflamed and overburdened has to do with how leaky your gut wall is. Some gut permeability is normal and an important feature. We need some things to be able to leak across as part of our daily digestive functioning. But when the walls of your gut become extra permeable, bacteria that belongs in the gut can sneak back into the bloodstream. This can cause inflammation and can further burden the garbage out, the outgoing garbage portion of your garbage in equals garbage out equation. If you've ever had a minor food, chemical, or environmental reaction, like bloating, itching, headaches, or any number of other subtle or not so subtle symptoms, You may also have had other times when you were exposed to those same things and didn't feel so bad or even felt fine. This is a confusing but common experience with sensitivities, intolerances, and even some environmental allergies. One reason for those inconsistent responses to exposure, and also why many people seem to outgrow some sensitivities, is because everyone's biology is constantly in flux, adapting to our changing environmental and situational stressors. When your insides mingle with the outside. Even though we all think of intestines as being inside of us, they're actually part of an external passageway that just happens to be securely surrounded by the body. Think about how your entire GI system is a tube that communicates with the outside world at both ends. The walls of that tube are designed to selectively allow the exchange of things into and out of your bloodstream, not altogether dissimilar to your skin. Your blood is part of the highly monitored inside environment. Quite simply, your intestinal walls are the barrier between your blood, insides, and your poop, outside. The more intact this barrier is, the better protected you are from the garbage that should not be circulating inside of you anymore. Unfortunately, a very high percentage of humans suffer from excessive gut permeability, or what is sometimes referred to as leaky gut. To add to this problem, there is a particularly tricky abundance of toxins in the gut with which the body machine has a love-hate relationship. They are called lipopolysaccharides, LPS for short, which are a major component of almost all gram-negative bacteria, which are commonly found in a healthy microbiome. Examples include E. coli, Streptococcus, Staphylococcus, Lactobacillus, and H. pylori. When kept in check by the rest of the microbiome and isolated to where they belong, LPS is a normal and important part of the gut. The problem with a leaky gut is that when it gets leaky enough, there are plenty of naturally occurring LPS-containing bacteria that then can sneak from the gut into the bloodstream. And when that happens, it has been found that those LPS molecules in the blood, where they don't belong, are implicated in food allergen reactions. Low doses of LPS that have snuck back into the blood can trigger low-grade inflammation and insulin resistance. Insulin resistance results in high blood glucose, one of the main reasons to beware of the big three garbage items, which triggers the release of pro-inflammatory molecules, setting you up for pain. High levels of blood glucose lead to low-grade inflammation everywhere, including the gut. This gut inflammation then contributes to the formation of a leaky gut wall, allowing the seepage of the endotoxin LPS back into the bloodstream, thereby causing even higher blood glucose and feeding an endless cycle of pain and inflammation. When the gut wall is not at its best, you can be giving yourself all the right probiotic supplements, all the best foods, your gut flora, your intestinal bacteria may even be pristine. But without healthy integrity of your gut walls, you're still vulnerable to the body inflammation that can occur with that excessive permeability. When dealing with persistent body pain and even just joint stiffness, it's worth looking at your gut permeability. What causes this gut permeability and how can you control it? There's recent research looking at exactly this thing: intestinal permeability, inflammation, and the role of nutrients. In the retrain phase of action, in the next chapter, you'll find that study and what it found about the main foods that increase permeability and quite a few that can decrease it, which will help you start to retrain your gut without any radical diet. That completes the second of 3 bite-sized portions dedicated to sharing with you the Body Chemistry Repair Guide Part 2 from Volume 2 of the Everyday Pain Guide series, Fix the Fire Damage. This episode is packed with research references, which will all be available for you to peruse and comment on over at my Substack publication, Better Pain Coping. So be sure to check the links in the show notes for how you can get free access to those just by being a listener. My Substack publication, Better Pain Coping, is where you can come chat with me about this episode and all the bonus material. Today's parting question for you, I want to know what role your gut elimination plays in your life. Is it difficult, or do you not even think about it? Have you struggled with either chronic constipation or diarrhea? Or maybe you have some irritable bowel activity, which gives you both at different times. Early in my career, I had an elderly patient tell me at his first visit that he solved his own lower back pain by starting to take a stool softening fiber supplement daily. That stuck with me, and since then, I've always been curious about the correlation. It's different for everybody. Do you think your gut has played a role in your body aches and pains? I'd love to hear your thoughts. The next episode will be another tiny one, where we'll just wrap up this chapter before moving on to the Body Chemistry Action Plan. See you then. This episode was an excerpt from the Everyday Pain Guide, your go-to guide when pain first strikes. Written and narrated by me, Dr. Ya-Ling Liu, with audio editing and production provided by Organized Sound Productions. Do you have questions or comments about today's episode? You can shoot me an email anytime at hello@stopeverydaypain.com. That's HELLO@stopeverydaypain.com. If you have friends or family members who you know are struggling with persistent, recurring aches and pains, tell them to check out the podcast while they're waiting for the book. To help me get this information to as many people who need it as possible, please consider leaving an honest review, but I'd also be super grateful for a simple like, follow, or share. Thank you for helping me put a stop to everyday pain.